And done. Oh, hello everybody. Sorry, I didn't see you there. Well, I was just gonna do some Disney puzzles, but I guess if you guys are here now, I'll do them with you. I've got a few different Disney puzzles here. Let's start off with this Tamatoa one. I'm really glad you guys decided to join me today. I really enjoy doing puzzles. Every now and then I'll either pick a puzzle that I already own, or I'll go out and buy one. And I typically just like to do them by myself. It can be fun to do puzzles with other people, but I really enjoy starting and finishing and knowing where every piece had to go. It's a very rewarding thing, I feel. And I found this game on Apple Arcade, and it's a pretty cool way to just do whatever puzzle you want, and you don't even have to pay. And it kind of locks it into place when you get it right too. So it's a little bit quicker than a regular puzzle also. It even lets you choose how many pieces you want to do. I don't remember how many I chose for this one, but for the Big Bad Wolf one I chose the highest amount you could go. And it took a few days of just playing every now and then, but I did get all the way through it. The cheap way to do it is what I'm doing here. Oh, that's already in. Where you kind of just move it around constantly until it sticks into place. But that's a little cheap, I will admit. I thought today we could get a little bit calmer, just have a nice little chat. If anybody has anything philosophical they're interested in talking about, or any of the things that I come up with here, I love to hear about it. I might also just tell some stories that I've heard that I think are interesting, because I don't know how many philosophical things I can think of. But I suppose let's start out with a story I heard recently. It's a little creepy, I suppose. If you get creeped out easily, you might want to try to skip out on this. But I think it's really interesting. It's a crazy piece of history. I don't know, it was hundreds of years ago. There was a village where I believe it was a woman just started dancing. It could have been a guy, I do not remember. And they just started dancing, and they wouldn't stop. And they got people to join them. I guess I don't know all the specifics, but these are the very bare bones things that I remember about it. And they just kept dancing, and more people would join. And the worst part was that people were unable to stop. It was not a choice for them to continue going. They were physically unable to stop, which is really terrifying. Sorry, I was focusing on the puzzle a little bit. And they brought in doctors to try to figure out what was wrong and how they could stop everything. The people that weren't dancing, I guess. And the doctors at the time, you know, they didn't have all the modern technology. They didn't know exactly what was up. They had to use their best knowledge. And the doctors decided or figured out that the people that were constantly dancing, I forget if it was their blood pressure or their blood was too hot or too cold, whatever it was. But whichever was the case, they thought that the best thing to do for that was to have them dance even harder. This is a real story. This sounds insane, but there was a time in history where this happened, and people danced so hard that they died from dancing. And it was like this, most likely it was a case of mass hysteria, but to the highest degree, I suppose. And we don't hear about stuff like that happening too often nowadays. So, whatever we've been doing has to be better than that, right? Like, people think the world's pretty bad nowadays, but if there's a village out there with people dancing to death, I think people would be able to help them out a little bit. And I don't think we'd even get into that situation in the first place. But when I heard that, I thought it was, like, I'll never forget that. It's just such an interesting story of something that seems so impossible, but happened not too long before us. They're the same species as us. Like I said, if you heard about that today, you would be like, how is that even possible? But this really happened. Anyways, that's just a cool story I have. It's not really even philosophical or anything, but I like the story. Another one I have that's a little less mass hysteria-y, and I finished the puzzle, by the way. Oh, sorry, there we go. But it's also a story in the same vein. There were these nuns, also hundreds of years ago. And if you don't know, nuns are kind of secluded. Like, they don't really get to interact with other human beings. And one time, one of the nuns decided to meow at another one of the nuns. And they thought it was so funny that they would only communicate in meows. And when they would interact with other human beings outside of the nunnery, they would meow at them. And it got to the point where it was so annoying, I guess, or so uncontrollable that they would not stop meowing at everybody, that the military came in and forced them, I don't know, physically, or if they were just intimidated by a military being like, you gotta stop. But they did actually stop. So it was not the case of the dancing one where they were physically unable to stop. They were just doing it for fun. I don't know. Like, these nuns were so bored and so humored by meowing at each other that they wouldn't stop. That's another thing where it's crazy to think about. But also, it doesn't feel like the craziest thing that could happen either. Like, I feel like that could happen in modern day. There's still nunneries out there where they're just completely secluded from all other human life. And it doesn't seem too far-fetched in my eyes. Or not far-fetched, but like impossible nowadays. Where does this one go? I've been on like every edge. Oh, that doesn't go there. Okay. Oh, this goes on top. Philosophical. I genuinely went into this wanting to have that be the main thing. But I'm not a philosophy guy. There is one thing that I used to think about this more, and every now and then I'll think about it. And I've never really talked about anybody about this, and it's kind of dark. Well, not even dark, but I don't know, it's not fun to think about. But sometimes I not even get in my head, I just think about this topic where it's so weird that we exist. Imagine if you didn't exist. Like, there would literally be nothing. Every time I think about it, I get like a shiver down my spine. It's the only thing that's able to do that to me. I'm like out of breath. I'm kind of... It genuinely freaks me out. And I suppose that's what it's like after death. But if you didn't exist, there would just be nothing. Like every day you do so many different things. And every individual person lives a lot. They have so much going on in their day-to-day lives. But if you just didn't exist, if humans never existed, then to us there'd literally have been nothing. Or if nobody existed at all, then nothing would ever have happened. And it's so weird to just like watch a movie or something and be like, yeah, that's normal. But if you never existed, then there would never be anything. And if humans never existed at all, then like it's so hard to wrap your brain around something like that. I don't even know if my explaining is doing the idea justice. Because it's such a hard topic to try to explain. I'd like to try to explain it better because it's a concept that really gets to me sometimes. But I don't really know how to explain it better than I already have. I think the only way to know if I've explained it well enough for you is if you also get that feeling of existential dread, or if you get a shiver down your spine. Because imagine your life now. Well, no, that doesn't really work either. What I'm getting at is, if no humans ever existed, or if no beings, I suppose, even, then there would literally never be anything. Our lives are so small in the grand scheme of things already. And yet if nobody existed, then nothing would ever happen. And even if everybody existed except for you, then to you it's almost as if nothing has ever happened. I'm 20 years old, and I have so many memories from those past 20 years. Every single day, something has happened in my life, even if it's not big, something has happened. But if you never existed, then nothing ever happened. You don't have memories, I don't know. I'm really bad at explaining the idea, but in my mind, it's huge. And every now and then the thought comes back, and like I said now, I got shivers even now. I've thought about this many times in the past. I'm pretty sure the first time I thought about it was like on a bus ride on the way to school. It's a weird thought. But on the other hand, there's really no point in even having the thought, because that's not what happened, We all do exist, and if you didn't exist, or if you don't exist, then there's no way you're watching this. So that's the one kind of relief you can get from a thought like that. Is that, well, even though that is a scary thought, and it is weird that life is even a thing at all, and if it wasn't a thing, then there would just never be anything ever, and you wouldn't know any differently because you never existed. But I forget how I started that sentence. That was a pretty long run-on sentence. But that doesn't matter, because that's not what happened. And everyone does exist. But it is an interesting thought, at least I think, that things might not exist. I don't know what or how the universe was created. I don't know why it was created, but I've always thought the thing that made the most sense is probably the simulation theory. I'm not a religious person, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to believe that we're a simulation then, because I don't believe in an almighty being that created us, you know? And even if you are religious, ultimately there's no way to know if you're right or if you're wrong, or who's right and who's wrong. And that's what faith is really all about, and I've just never had that faith. I'm not capable of having that faith, but there certainly isn't wrong with anybody who does. I don't really want to steer this into the religion topic, because that can get heated. And of course, everybody who has religious beliefs, they usually are pretty set in their mind about it, similarly to how I'm set in my mind about not being religious, you know? I was just going to say, though, that I've never understood how one religion can be so confident that what they believe in is the correct thing to believe in. But as I said before, that's kind of what faith is all about. You put all of your faith into your religion, and to not have faith is to question whether you are in the right religion or not, you know. But I certainly don't think it's wrong to question it either, because, like I said, there's so many religions out there. It is strange to be confident in one without at least doing some research, you know. That's just how I feel. I could get into more topics, but I also feel like I'm getting pretty close to this one here. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not too much of a philosophical person, but I do enjoy discussing them now and again. I think it's more so that I don't know any Dang it, I can't say that word. I think it's more so that I don't know any philosophical things. But when discussing them, or if someone brings them up to me, I really enjoy those sorts of topics. And that's why I said at the beginning, if you have anything, I'd love to discuss it with you, or at least have you present something to me that I can think about in my own time. Because I do enjoy these sorts of things. I suppose the easiest thing to do would just be to look stuff up, but I enjoy it more actually talking to someone about it rather than just thinking about it in my head. I like hearing other people's opinions on those sorts of things. And if you enjoy this little puzzle time thing, I really didn't plan to do anything after this. Like, this was just going to be this was just something I wanted to do, and I don't really know why it was something I wanted to do. I think that opening when I said hello everybody, I didn't see you there. I think that's the main reason why I made this video. But if you do want to see more, of course, let me know. I completed 2 puzzles today. I really like the second one that I did. And it is Disney themed, so it might get more people to click on it, but anyways, there's a bunch more Disney stuff here, so let me know if you want to see more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.